evening and welcome to Sun Metal Temple. We are so happy you joined us. My name is Alba and I use she, her pronouns. This is our first October observance and I'm so happy you are here. As always, the service is recorded and will be posted on our YouTube channel. Please note that participation in the channels has slowed down as I am dealing with paperwork challenges and setting up all of the new things on the back end. Things will pick up again soon. This also means that you can fill in the gap by participating in the channels more. I also want to remind you of our upcoming events, including our 6 Degrees of Halloween event on the 11th. And I'm also excited that we are bringing back movie night on the 25th. For this, I will be choosing the movies as the selection is very limited in the new formats. We will open the day with our opening words, which will appear on the slide behind you. Please listen as I read the words aloud or read them aloud along with me at home. We welcome you into the light of the gods and light this flame in celebration. May its brightness symbolize our connection to the gods and the natural world. May you join us in this community of faith, cherishing love and with open hearts. So our theme for this month is vanity, and we have 2 readings today from Ovid's Metamorphosis, which is Book 3, Fable 6, Fable 6 and 7, and Book 4, Fable 3, and both are translated by Henry T. Riley. So we'll begin with our first reading, which is Book 3, Fables 6 and 7, which is Narcissus and Echo. He, much celebrated by fame throughout the cities of Onia, gave unerring answers to the people consulting him. The azure Lyrope was the first to make essay and experiment of his infallible voice, whom once Sisyphus encircled in his winding stream and offered violence to when enclosed by his waters. The most beauteous nymph produced an infant from her teeming womb, which even then might have been beloved, and she called him Narcissus. Being consulted concerning him whether he was destined to see the distant season of mature old age, the prophet, expounding destiny, said, "If he never recognizes himself." Long did the words of the soothsayer appear frivolous, but the event, the thing itself, the manner of his death, and the novel nature of his frenzy confirmed it. And now the son of Cepheus had added 1, 2, 3 times 5 years, and he might seem to be a boy and a young man as well. Many a youth and many a damsel courted him, but there was so stubborn a pride in his youthful beauty that no youths, no damsels made any impression on him. The noisy nymph, who has neither learned to hold her tongue after another speaking, nor to speak first herself, resounding echo espied him, as he was driving the timid stags into his nets. Echo was then a body, not a voice, and yet the babbler had no other use of her speech than she now has, to be able to repeat the last words out of many. Juno had done this because when often she might have been able to detect the nymphs in the mountains, in the embrace of her husband Jupiter, she purposely used to detain the goddess with the long story, until the nymphs had escaped. After the daughter of Saturn perceived this, she said, "But small exercise of this tongue, with which I have been deluded, shall be allowed by thee, and a very short use of thy voice." And she confirmed her threats by the event. Still, in the end of one speaking, she redoubles the voice, and returns the words she hears. When therefore she beheld Narcissus wandering through the pathless forest and fell in love with him, she stealthily followed his steps, and the more she followed him, with the nearer flame did she burn, in no other manner than as when the native sulphur spread around the tops of torches catches the flame applied to it. Ah, how often did she to accost him in soft accents and to employ soft entreaties. Nature resists and suffers her not to begin, but what nature does permit that she is ready for, to await his voice, to which to return her own words. By chance the youth, being separated from the trusty company of his attendants, cries out, "Is there any one here?" And Echo answers, "Here!" He is amazed, and when he has cast his eyes on every side, he cries out with a loud voice, "Come!" Whereon she calls the youth who calls. He looks back and again, as why no one comes. He says, "Why dost thou avoid me?" And just as many words as he spoke he receives. He persists, And being deceived by the imitation of an alternate voice, he says, "Let us come together here." An echo that could never more willingly answer any sound whatever, replies, "Let us come together here," as she follows up her own words and rushing from the woods, is going to throw her arms around the neck she has so longed for. He flies, and as he flies he exclaims, "Remove thy hands from thus embracing me. I will die first before thou shalt have the enjoyment of me." She answers nothing but "have the enjoyment of me." Thus rejected, she lies hid in the woods, and hides her blushing face with green leaves, and from that time lives in lonely caves. But yet her love remains, and increases from the mortification of her refusal. Watchful cares waste away her miserable body, leanness shrivels her skin, and all the juices of her body fly off in the air. Her voice and her bones alone are left. Her voice still continues, but they say that her bones receive the form of stones. Since then she lies concealed in the woods, and is never seen on the mountains, but is heard in all of them. It is her voice alone which remains alive in her. Thus he had deceived her. Thus, too, other nymphs that sprung from the water or the mountains, thus the throng of youths before them. Someone therefore who had been despised by him, lifting his hands towards heaven, said, "Thus though he should love, let him not enjoy what he loves." Ramunicia assented to a prayer so reasonable. There was a clear spring like silver, with unsullied waters, which neither shepherds nor she-goats feeding on the mountains, nor any other cattle had touched, which neither bird nor wild beast had disturbed, nor bough from falling tree. There was grass around it which the neighboring water nourished, and a wood that suffered the stream to become warm with no rays of the sun. Here the youth, fatigued both with the labor of hunting and the heat, lay down, attracted by the appearance of the spot and the spring, and while he was endeavoring to quench his thirst, another thirst grew upon him. While he is drinking, being attracted with the reflection of his own form seen in the water, he falls in love with a thing that has no substance, and he thinks that to be a body which is but a shadow. He is astonished at himself, and remains unmoved with the same countenance, like a marble statue formed of Parian marble. Lying on the ground, he gazes on his eyes like two stars, his fingers worthy of Bacchus, and hair worthy of Apollo, and his youthful cheeks and ivory neck, and comeliness of his mouth, and his blushing complexion mingled with the whiteness of snow, and everything he admires for which he himself is worthy to be admired. In his ignorance he covets himself, and he that approves is himself the thing approved. While he pursues, he is pursued, and at the same moment he inflames and burns. How often does he give vain kisses to the deceitful spring? How often does he thrust his arms, catching at the neck he sees, into the middle of the water? And yet he does not catch himself in them. He knows not what he sees, but what he sees. By it he is inflamed. And the same mistake that deceives his eyes provokes them. Why, credulous youth, dost thou vainly catch at the flying image? What thou art seeking is nowhere. What thou art in love with, turn but away, and thou shalt lose it. What thou seest, the same, is but the shadow of a reflected form. It has nothing of its own. It comes and stays with thee. With thee it will depart, if thou canst but depart thence. No regard for food, no regard for repose, can draw him away thence, but lying along upon the overshadowed grass he gazes upon the fallacious image with unsatiated eyes, and by his own sight he is himself undone. Raising himself a little while, extending his arms to the woods that stand around him, he says, "Was ever, oh, ye woods, any one more fatally in love? For this ye know, and have been a convenient shelter for many a one. And do you ever remember any one who ever thus pined away during so long a time, though so many ages of your life has been spent? It both pleases me and I see it, but what I see and what pleases me yet I cannot obtain. So great a mistake possesses one in love, to make me grieve the more, neither a vast sea separates us, nor a long way, nor mountains, nor a city with its gates closed. We are kept asunder by a little water. He himself wishes to be embraced, for as often as I extend my lips to the limpid stream, so often does he struggle towards me with his face held up. You would think he might be touched. It is a very little that stands in the way of lovers. Whoever thou art, come up hither. Why, dear boy, the choice one, dost thou deceive me? Or whither dost thou retire when pursued? Surely neither my form nor my age is such as thou shouldest shun. The nymphs too have courted me. Thou encouragest, I know not what hopes in me with that friendly look. And when I extend my arms to thee, thou willingly extendest thine. When I smile, thou smilest in return. Often too have I observed thy tears. When I was weeping, my signs too. Thou returnest by thy nods, and as I guess by the motion of thy beauteous mouth. Thou returnest words that come not to my ears. In 'tis thee I now perceive, nor does my form deceive me. I burn with the love of myself, and both raise the flames and endure them. What shall I do? Should I be entreated, or should I entreat? What then shall I entreat? What I desire is in my power, oh plenty has made me poor. Oh, would that I could depart from my own body, a new wish indeed in a lover. I could wish that what I am in love with was away, and now grief is taking away my strength, and no longer period of my life remains, and in my early days I am cut off. Nor is death grievous to me, now about to get rid of my sorrows by death. I wish that he who is beloved could enjoy a longer life. Now we two, of one mind, shall die in the extinction of one life. Thus he said, and with his mind but ill at ease, he returned to the same reflection, and disturbed the water with his tears, and the form was rendered defaced by the moving of the stream. When he saw it beginning to disappear, he cried aloud, Whither dost thou fly? Stay, I beseech thee, and do not in thy cruelty abandon thy lover. Let it be allowed to me to behold that which I may not touch, and to give nourishment to my wretched frenzy. And while he was grieving, he tore his garment from the upper border, and beat his naked breast with his palms, white as marble. His breast, when struck, received a little redness, no otherwise than apples are wont, which are partly white and partly red, or as a grape not yet ripe in the party-colored clusters, is wont to assume a purple tint. As soon as he beheld this again in the water, when clear, he could not endure it any longer, but as yellow wax with a fire, or as the hoar of frost in the morning, is wont to waste away with the warmth of the sun, so he, consumed by love, pined away, and wasted by degrees with the hidden flame. And now no longer was his complexion of white mixed with red, neither his vigor nor his strength, nor the points which had charmed when seen so lately, nor even his body which formerly Echo had been in love with, now remained. Yet when she saw these things, although angry and mindful of his usage of her, she was grieved, and as often as the unhappy youth said, Alas, she repeated, Alas, with re-echoing voice. And when he struck his arms with his hands, she too returned the sound of a blow. His last accents as he looked into the water, as usual, were these, Ah, youth, beloved in vain, and the spot returned just as many words. And after he had said farewell, Echo too said farewell. He laid down his wearied head upon the green grass, when night closed the eyes that admired the beauty of their master. And even then, after he had been received unto the infernal abodes, he used to look at himself in Stygian waters. His Naiad sisters lamented him, and laid their hair, cut off over their brother. The Dryads too lamented him, and echo resounded their lamentations. And now they were preparing the funeral pile, and the shaken torches and the bier. The body was nowhere to be found. Instead of his body they found a yellow flower, with white leaves encompassing it in the middle. Okay, so that's the end of book six, Fables 6 and 7. And we'll now do book 4, Fable 3, which is King Midas. And this is not enough for Bacchus. He resolves to forsake the country itself, and with superior train he repairs the vineyards of his own Tmolus and Pactolus. Although it was not golden at that time, nor to be coveted for its precious sands. The usual throng, both satyrs and bacchanals, surround him, but Silenus is away. The Phrygian rustics took him as he was staggering with age and wine, and bound with their garlands, they led him to their king, Midas, to whom, together with the Cecropian Emolpus and the Thracian Orphis, had entrusted the mysterious orgies of Bacchus. Soon as he recognized this associate and companion of these rites, he hospitably kept a festival on the coming of this guest for twice 5 days, and as many nights joined in succession. And now the 11th Lucifer had closed the lofty hosts of the stars, when the king came rejoicing to the Lydian lands, and restored Silenus to the youth, his foster child. To him the god, being glad at the recovery of his foster father, gave the choice of desiring a favor, pleasing indeed, but useless as it turned out. He destined to make foolish use of the favor, says, cause that whenever I shall touch with my body shall be turned into yellow gold. Liber assents to his wish and grants him the heartful favor, and is grieved that he has not asked for something better. The Beresianthan hero departs joyful and rejoices in his own misfortune, and tries the truth of his promise by touching everything. And hardly believing himself, he pulls down a twig from a holm oak growing on a bough not lofty. The twig becomes gold. He takes up a stone from the ground. With the stone too turns pale with gold. He touches a clod, also his potent touch of the clod becomes a mass of gold. He picks some dry ears of corn, that wheat is golden. He holds an apple taken from a tree. You would suppose that the Hesperides had given it. If he places his fingers upon the lofty door posts, then the posts are seen to glisten. When too he has washed his hands in the liquid stream, the water flowing from his hands might have deceived Danae. He scarcely can contain his own hopes in his mind, imagining everything to be of gold. As he is thus rejoicing, his servants set before him a table supplied with dainties, and not deficient in parched corn. But then, whether he touches the gift of Ceres with his right hand, the gift of Ceres as gold becomes hard, or if he attempts to bite the dainties with hungry teeth, those dainties, upon the application of his teeth, shine as yellow plates of gold. Bacchus, the granter of this favor, he mingles with pure water. You could see liquid gold flowing through his jaws. Astonished at the novelty of his misfortune, being both rich and wretched, he wishes to escape from his wealth, and now he hates what but so lately he has wished for. No plenty receives his hunger, dry thirst parches his throat, and he is deservedly tormented by the now hated gold. Raising his hands towards heaven and his shining arms, he says, grant me pardon, Father Linnaeus. I have done wrong, but have pity on me, I pray, and deliver me from this specious calamity. Bacchus, the gentle divinity among the gods, restored him, as he confessed that he had done wrong, to his former state, and annulled his given promise and the favor that was granted. And that thou mayest not remain overlaid with thy gold, so unhappily desired, go, he said, to the river adjoining to great Sardis, and trace thy way, meeting the waters as they fall from the height of the mountain, until thou comest to the rise of the stream, and plunge thy head beneath the bubbling spring, where it bursts forth most abundantly, and at once purge thy body, at once thy crime. The king placed himself beneath the waters prescribed. The golden virtue tinged the river, and departed from the human body into the stream. And even now the fields receiving the ore of this ancient vein of gold are hard, growing of pallid color from their clods imbibing the gold. So those were two of the classic tales of vanity from ancient Greece, and these were the Roman versions. But they are clear where Narcissus falls in love with his own expression because he is so vain. And Midas thinks that he is much smarter than the gods and makes a wish that damages him. And because those readings ended up being so long, I did not have a ton written for this end discussion. So generally, you can see how the application of vanities is not great. Say, and then the continued application of vanity is the problem, because Bacchus forgives Midas when he admits that he has done something stupid and made a wrong wish. And if Narcissus, sorry, I was forgetting his name, had only ever thought to turn away from his faith and not be obsessed with his vanity, he would have lived. So what is wrong with vanity is becoming lost in it and not acknowledging that you have done wrong when you have committed a vanity. So we'll now move into the ritual portion of the observance, and I will play the video. We leave this offering for our gods to symbolize our connection and devotion. We gift this rock to symbolize the stability of the gods in our world. We gift this water to accept the flow of our lives. We welcome life and bless our offerings with oil to share our riches. We embrace our connection to each other and the world and celebrate our revival. We'll now move into the closing words, which as usual you can listen as I read them aloud or read along aloud with me at home. As we move out into the world, let us remember our community of faith. Cherish love and open your heart as you walk through life. Hold dear the light of the gods and our connection with the natural world. Go forth in celebration and carry the light of connection within your heart. It is now coffee hour, and I will stop the recording.